Hello, this is Naren Motor Protection Unit model MPU-25. So this can be attached to any DOL starter. So when this particular product is attached to an existing DOL starter, the whole setup will get a complete motor safety features. So the safety features offered by this particular product are dry run protection, overload protection, single phase protection, which is again a current sensing based mechanism. Then it has a built-in auto start unit. Auto start unit is used to turn on the motor as soon as the power supply resumes. And then since we have given the auto start unit facility, it has an adjustable power on delay facility that can be programmed by the user. Then we also have an option of phase sequence detection. So meaning when all the incoming three-phase supply are in right sequence, only then the motor is allowed to start. If not, the motor is not allowed to run. Okay, so this whole setup can be given as a complete assembly, that is MPU-25 can be pre-wired with the existing DOL starter or can be pre-wired with our starter and given as a package. Or if you already have a DOL starter, then you can procure only this MPU-25 from us and then you can wire it accordingly. Wiring is pretty straightforward, which we will be letting you know shortly. And as mentioned, the whole MPU-25 has all the features discussed earlier in the form of this electronic unit, and along with this it has three-phase supply voltage indicators, so wherein you will get to know the availability of three-phase supply. So this has a beautiful LCD display that lights up something like this. So the first line reads the three-phase supply voltages. So along with the safety features, it has three-phase voltmeter and three-phase ammeter. Again, all the three line voltages are displayed on the first line, and while the motor is on, the three line currents are shown in the second line where you are seeing this off. While the motor starts, you will see the three line currents drawn by the motor in the second line. Along with this, it also has the tripping facility, tripping functionality, and the tripping indication. So the reason for trip, meaning overload, dry run or single phase, whatever the reason is indicated in the second line of the display. And along with the reason for trip, we will also display the tripping current. So if, for example, if the overload has occurred at a particular ampere, like 20 ampere, so the message will be shown as overload and 20 ampere. So it is easier for you to diagnose as to what exactly the issue is and take necessary action. So this is about the product, and we will quickly walk through the connections part. So this has a knob which rotated, you can open the door. This opens up like a panel. So once you open this is the electronic unit. This electronic unit, which we call as motor controller, is available separately also, and this also carries a warranty. So just in case any issue occurs with the unit, you can replace this unit. Replaceability is a key feature which we have taken care of. So replacement is very easy. So you just have these two clamps, and behind you have all these connectors. So if you want to replace, you just need to wire it the same way it was earlier. You can just take a image before taking this out, and then once the new device is installed, you can rewire them as per the previous wiring. So the replacement is very straightforward. And then when it comes to the internal structure, it has the incoming three-phase supply, incoming three-phase supply the connectors, sorry, and then we have 5-way connectors on the output as well, and these are the current sensors. Okay, so looking at the connections, you will see this stickers that indicate the wiring that has to be done. L1, L2, L3 is the incoming three-phase supply. So whatever incoming three-phase is coming from the fuses or your MCB has to be connected to L1, L2, L3, these three terminals. So these three again are the load bearing wires. That is the reason why these are thick. So it will usually be a 4 square or a 6 square mm wire. So these are the load carrying wires. And then we have these two last two connectors that says auto start unit, that has to be connected to the across the start button of the starter. Then on the output end, we have the connectors read like this. It says M1, M2, M3. The sticker says M1, M2, M3 here, and then we have C3 and C4. So these two are the preventive connections. We will be showing where to connect this. M1, M2, M3 are the output connectors of the MPU. So whatever size wire that you are using at the input, the same size wire has to be taken from the output, and the wires coming from here will be going as the input to the input of the starter. We will just see where those wires are connected. So the wires which are coming from these 3 points are connected to the input of the starter, that is these 3 points. Okay, so the load wire, the thicker wire, it first starts from here, from the fuse it comes here, then the same size wire are taken here and given to the input of the starter, and then output of the starter you can directly connect your motor cables. So these 3 are the motor cables. Coming to auto start and preventer connections, so these 2 are auto start connections. So you will have to connect these 2 wires across the on push button. So in the starter, these are the on push button points, and then we have taken green colored wires from here. So you can see these 2 green colored wires. One wire should be connected to this point and the other wire should be connected to this point. So you need not remove any wire. So on top of the existing wires, you need to connect these 2 wires. That is the auto start connections. And then we are left with these preventer connections. So we've taken gray wire from these 2 points. So to check the preventer connections, you would have in your starter, you will have a wire connected from the off push button point, that is the last point, to the coil. This is the coil point. You will have a wire connected from here to here. So what you need to do is you first have to remove the wire which is connected from this point to this point, and use we've connected 2 gray wires here. So one gray wire has to be connected to this point. Wherever you are removing the older wire, on the same point you will have to connect one gray here, or the one wire from C3 to this point, and the second wire from C4 has to be connected to the coil point. I'll repeat again. There will be a wire connected from here to the coil. What you need to do is you will have to take out the wire connected from here to here, and one wire from C3 has to be connected to this particular point, and the other wire from C4 has to be connected to this point. So this is about the preventer connections. The connections are pretty straightforward. So once you have made all these connections, please make sure you have tightened all the screws. Thereby we are not leaving any loose terminals. So this is about the connections. Once the connections are done, then we can move on to the motor operations. So as mentioned earlier, this MPU-25 is suitable from 1 HP to 7.5 HP 3-phase motors. So according to the HP rating, you will be choosing the right starter, but this unit will still remain the same. It has a current carrying capacity of up to 50 ampere. So then coming to the display part, the first line always reads the 3-phase voltage as mentioned earlier. So you will see this R, Y and B indicators here, the small LEDs that are blinking. So if you can just see, you have R and Y lights glowing. So this means the voltage shown here are the R and Y line, and now it is Y and B. So Y and B voltages are for 414. Similarly, R and B lights shown now. So this is the voltage across R and B. So likewise, you will see the 3-line voltages which are constantly scrolling. So you will get to know the 3-phase voltages here. And then on the second line we have this indication which says mode off. So off meaning the motor is currently off. While the motor starts, you will see the current values on the second line. This is how the display lights up. And then the display will automatically, the backlight will automatically turn off after 3 minutes of inactivity. So after that you can again press any of the keys to wake this up, and then the display again shows up. But as long as the motor is on, the display will continue to stay on. So this is about the display. And then we have these buttons given beneath. So the very first button is used for settings, and then these are up and down arrow keys, and the last button is the auto start unit. So this button is used to turn on and turn off the auto start unit. An important feature of this particular product, which is MPU-25, is while the motor is running, it will automatically adjust the necessary low current and high current values, or if you want to set it also, you need not individually set the low current and high current values. We have given this shortcut which says current setting, automatic current setting. So while the motor is on, you can press and hold this up arrow key for 10 seconds. Then after 10 seconds, the current values are automatically adjusted from the motor protection unit. We will quickly have a look at all those facilities. Right now we are just looking at the basic motor on and off. So to turn on the motor manually, you are pressing the green button on the starter, the motor starts, and while the motor is on, you will see the currents drawn in all the 3 lines. So you will see these lights here beneath. So this is red, yellow and blue. So now the current drawn in blue phase is 6.92. Likewise, so here it is, the current drawn in the R line is 7.14, current in Y is 7.14 again. So current in B will be 6.9. So likewise, whatever current is drawn by your motor will get displayed in the second line. So you have 3-phase voltage indication on the first line, 3-phase current indication on the second line. So we have a decimal digit accuracy for the currents drawn in all the 3 lines. Then while the motor is on, if at all you want to make the current settings, the very simplest way to do this is press and hold the second button for 10 seconds. I am pressing and holding this button for 10 seconds till you see CURR set on the display. So now you see the CURR set. So this means the currents are automatically adjusted. Our motor was drawing around 7.9 ampere roughly. So the high current value is adjusted to 9.88 and the low current value is adjusted to 4.87. Okay, so this is the auto set feature. So because of this, you will be having this dry run protection, overload protection, meaning whenever current drawn by the motor goes below the set low current value, the motor is turned off in 8 seconds time. So the 8 seconds is the tripping time given for dry run protection. And then we have this overload tripping. So whenever the motor draws current more than the set high current value, the motor turns off in 12-second interval. Then we have this single phase protection as well. While the motor is running, if any one of the lines current drops to 0, that is when the motor is turned off in 2 seconds time. So that is what we call as single phase protection. And then we will quickly move on to the auto start functionality in a while. So before that, we will switch off the motor. So if the motor is running, you can press this red button on the starter to turn off the motor. So if the error is not present, if the motor is off, manual off, then you will just see this off indication. So then to turn on the auto start functionality, what we are doing is, you will see this auto button on the rightmost button. Press and hold this button for 10 seconds to turn on the auto start. So it says auto on. So this means auto start functionality has turned on, meaning we will now switch off the incoming supply. So as soon as the power supply resumes, the auto start kicks in and motor starts automatically. So we'll be turning on the power supply now. So you will see this auto start counter now taking place. Now you will see this, since auto was on, you will see this counter starting. So it will be a down count which starts from 10 seconds. 10 seconds is the default set on delay, and once if you want to change the value, you can always do that. Auto start turns on the motor automatically. The motor switched on, and you will see the currents drawn by the motor on the second line. So this auto start, if kept on, will allow the motor to run for as long as there is power supply. So again, if you want to switch off the auto start unit, you will have to press the last button again. So pressing this, the same process, pressing this while the auto start is on will turn it off. Auto off. So this means auto start unit is turned off now. So auto start functionality can anytime be turned on and turned off by the user. So if kept off, it will work in the manual mode alone. So we will now move on to the tripping characteristics. So now the currents drawn by the motor is around 7 ampere. So we will first generate the overload error. So to generate the overload error, what we are doing is, we will increase the set high current value. To do the manual settings, we will have to press and hold this button. So I'll be decreasing this overload value to, let us say, around 6 ampere. And dry run value is anyways lower than that. Okay, now overload and dry run manual set is done, just to show you the overload tripping. So if the motor is running, if overload is detected, it is set to 6 ampere, whereas the motor is drawing 7 ampere. You will see this indication and the motor turns off in 12 seconds. So you heard that motor switched off. So when the motor is off, you will see the reason for turn off on the first line, and then the tripping current on the second line. It says OL, which is overload error, and the tripping current is 7 ampere. And here it says ERR instead of off. So ERR means there's an error, and which error will be shown in the second screen. So ERR here, and OL 7. So 7 ampere is the overload tripping current. So that is what it indicates, and this error will get saved, and even if the power supply cuts and if the power supply resumes also, this error will still persist. till the motor turns on the next time. So error resetting will be automatically taken care of by the controller. You need not press any physical reset buttons. So we will now generate the dry run error. We know that the motor was drawing around 7 ampere. What we will be doing is overload value will be increased to 11. Dry run value will also be increased to, let us say, we will make it 8. So yeah, dry run value is made to 9. So in this case, if I turn on the motor, it should turn off due to dry run error. So I'll be turning on the motor manually. Yep. Motor turned on manually. The motor is drawing 7 ampere, whereas 8 is the set dry run value. The motor will turn off in 8 seconds interval as dry run error. So it has detected the error here, it says DR, and within the 8-second interval the motor just turned off, and the reason for turn off is indicated as DR and 7. So error is dry run error and the error current is 7. So this is what this indicates. We will now again put the settings back to the actual values. So we're doing the manual setting. Overload is set to 11 ampere and dry run we will decrease it to 5 ampere. Okay. So this is done. So now we will turn on the motor again. The motor is on. So we will let the motor run for a while and we will quickly have a look at the single phase tripping. The motor is on. What I'll be doing now is I'll be disconnecting one of the phases, incoming supply phases. There's an MCB for us to disconnect. I'll be turning it off. I just turned it off. You will see the controller detects the single phase instantaneously and turns off the motor in 2 seconds interval. And the reason for turn off will be single phase, SP. SP is the single phase error. And you can also see error, single phase 0 error is detected in which line. So this is the center line. It says Y phase was turned off. So there were 3 underlines here. So the center underline means that the single phase occurred in the center line. So that is the Y phase. This is about the tripping, and again we will put it back to the automatic current set mode. We've turned on the motor. So since we tampered with the current settings, we'll be putting it back to the current automatically setting mode. We'll be pressing and holding the up arrow for 10 seconds to automatically put it back to the settings. So now, yeah, current set is enabled. So automatic settings have taken place, have kicked in, and now, so yeah, 9.73 and 4.78. These are the values that the controller picked up. So once these are all done, then the motor runs absolutely fine. So any error it will get shown up on the display, and according to that you can take action as to what has to be done. So summarizing the whole product, so MPU is a very compact product that is suitable for all kinds of starter. It is now suitable from 1 to 7.5 HP 3-phase motors. Then coming to the feature list, it has dry run protection, overload protection, single phase protection, all are current based mechanism. Then it has built-in auto start unit, built-in power on delay adjustment functionality, and then it also has a phase sequence detection mechanism. And along with that, it has 3-line supply voltage indicators and 3-line voltmeter, 3-phase voltmeter, and also the 3-phase ammeter. Along with this, it offers the reason for trip on the interactive LCD and the tripping current. So it is an altogether accumulative product that offers the facilities of 5 to 6 different products put together. And then the beauty is the connections are very simple, and it is easily compatible to any DOL starter. I hope the video is clear. Please reach us out if you have any questions. You can reach us out on 99722 I repeat, it's 99722 You can also purchase this products on our website www.narenelectrics.in. Thank you for watching this video.